Well, tech giant Google kicked off its annual developers conference in San Francisco, and this year the event turned out to be rather light on the hardware, but heavy on the software. For all the details, Mark Niu joins us live from Silicon Valley. Mark, how was day one of the conference?
That's right, Michelle. Little on the hardware side, though. Google did make an announcement that they'd be working with handset makers and cell phone service providers to release a trio of phones in India. Those would be high-quality phones for under $100. The line would be called Android One. Outside that, the day was pretty much devoted to software and trying to convince developers that working with Android would be seamless even with their latest changes. But the changes to the user interface this time around are quite dramatic, so much so that Google is calling L the biggest development in Android history. Android L features a new design language called Material Design. It's all about colors, shadows, and textures, not unlike what iOS 7 did for the iPhone. Google is also seeking to make L a single adapted design that can work on smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and TVs.
And you look at what we are doing with Android, the approach we are taking is very unique and distinctive. We aren't building a vertically integrated product. What we are doing is building an open platform at scale. We work with hundreds of partners globally to bring a product and a platform that touches billions of people.
Despite the new speedier and visually attractive operating system, Google said L will be less draining on the batteries. Google is also taking some extra steps with regard to security. It's putting factory reset or killing the info on a phone remotely in the hands of users. L devices will also be able to sense whether the owner is paired to another Bluetooth device or in what's called a safe location, like your home, for example, and then automatically unlock without having to use a passcode. That can come in handy since, according to Google, the average person checks their smartphone 125 times a day. Michelle.
You know what, Mark? I bet you those statistics are spot on. Now let's talk about some of the software you mentioned. You said it was heavy on the software. So what were some of the more interesting, eye-catching software features that we'll be checking out soon?
Well, Google introduced Android Wear, which first begins with the wristwatch, where they unveiled models from both Samsung and LG. They showed how, paired with your Android smartphone, you could, for example, use a recipe app to go step by step through a complicated recipe. The screen is smaller on a watch, so when you swipe to the next step, it automatically syncs with your smartphone, which has a larger view. If the recipe calls for a certain amount of time on a step, no problem. You can set the timer within the watch by touch. And you don't have to worry about ruining the watch either because it's waterproof. Android Wear also has partnered with the popular ride-sharing app Lyft so that you can just say, "Okay, Google, call a car," and that's it. A Lyft car will soon arrive to wherever you are. Transportation also played another big role, as Google also announced Android Auto. The idea is for you to plug your phone into the car, and then Android Auto will bring in music and navigation controls to the forefront. In the quest to cut down on distractions while driving, Google acknowledged that 25% of accidents in the U.S. are caused by drivers fiddling with gadgets while behind the wheel. Michelle.
All right. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Mark Niu live from Silicon Valley. Google shares, by the way, closing up 2.5% today.